Okay, I was going to see if Vasily Fisk was going to come, but no. So we wanted to do a Quimby episode. Quimby um, likes to see what other people are going to talk about, but before he goes and listens to a video of somebody, he sees like sort of what the title is, and sometimes he'll listen to a little teeny bit of snippet or just like an introduction, and then he turns it off and he wants to give you his version. So we don't have a Quimby hat, but he always comes up quite often. Anyways, we want to move on. So today's talk, it was very, very huge audience. It was the second largest live stream of the day. So I guess it would have been yesterday, April the 5th. It was David Icke on London Real. And if you've never heard of David Icke, you might say he's someone who is. Let's move along. Okay, so the topic that he was going to talk about, as far as we can gather, is what's really going on behind the scenes of coronavirus, 5G, internet, whatever the hell it all is, vaccines. Those were the three ones. And David Icke is a Britisher, and he was a soccer player, professional soccer player when he was younger, and then he became a commentator, and then he really went out in left field. And he started talking about lizard people, reptilians, and how they're not connected to source. What is source? Well, in the olden days they said God, but it's more scientific sounding. I don't know how he particularly, if he talks about source or God. I don't listen to a lot of David Icke. I used to go into a metaphysical bookstore and just browse, and I always remember seeing some of his stuff there, and it always struck me as being very. Someone says astral, could be astral. Just tin hat, and I don't know, someone was left field. It means Englishmen are famous for being eccentric, and this one is really eccentric. Nevertheless, he had the second largest live stream yesterday in the whole world, so he has quite a large following. Let's see, so what do we want to talk about? Are we going to hit on any of these three themes that were brought up? No, we're not going to talk about 5G networks, vaccines, or coronavirus. Instead, we're going to ask our friend Vasily Fisk, the metaphysical investigator, to talk to us about Quinn. It's a Quinn thing. Okay, so who do you know whose name is Quinn? I'm familiar with not a huge number. So let's go through and see what we get. Okay, Quinn, it means 5. Probably in Latin, Quinn. And let's see. So there was a Manfred Mann song called Quinn the Eskimo, probably around 1970. Manfred Mann was very famous for, that song was a pretty big hit, but the other really big hit for them was Blinded by the Light. And it was a song written by Bruce Springsteen, but Manfred Mann's version of it was a huge, huge hit. And we want to say about 1974. Okay, what other Quinn? Nothing to do with Quinn and Blinded by the Light, but it was Manfred Mann. Manfred Mann, we think, did Do Wah Diddy was another one. So, they did a number of interesting songs. I think they were a British band. Quinn the Eskimo. I don't know. You can listen to Quinn the Eskimo and see what you get. Okay, what are the Quins? Due south of where I live in the Mississippi Delta, there is a city called New Orleans. And Anne Rice wrote the vampire stories and quite often touched on New Orleans. One of her books, two of her books, I think there were two anyways, and maybe stretched into more than that, but at least two books had a character, Quinn Blackwood. Twin for short. He was kind of a crossover character between the vampires and what Anne Rice called the Mayfair Witches. So it's definitely a tie-in to her two different series of chronicles. They're very interesting characters. I'm trying to see if I can connect to Tarquin Blackwood. Sometimes people try to scare me because he is a vampire. I'm getting that I can't see him. Vampires are known for their abilities to present themselves to what you might say mortals like me when they want, and when they don't want to show themselves, they are really the ones that have the upper hand. Well, we might have to wait for a while because I'm not getting anything other than I just got some connection. It just came through. Hold on a second. Okay, I don't know if that went through on your camera or not, but it's Led Zeppelin, and the song in play is Gallows Pole. So to put that on your song list, you're supposed to listen to Quinn the Eskimo and Gallows Pole. Okay, so I'm getting in New Orleans the French Quarter. And in the French Quarter, there's a bar called the Old Absinthe House. Absinthe is kind of a green colored liquor. It has liquor in it, in other words, alcohol, ethanol, and it has wormwood, which is Artemisia, the herb. Okay, we have another song. Because New Orleans is where the Mississippi River empties into the Gulf of Mexico, we're thinking about the Mississippi River. And famous author Samuel Clemens, also known, probably more known as Mark Twain, wrote about Huckleberry Finn. And Huckleberry Finn had a raft, and he rafted on the Mississippi River. And Huckleberry's friend was Tom Sawyer. So we have a song to add to our list. That is Today's Tom Sawyer by the Canadian band Rush. Okay, the next one I'm going to give you is the actor Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise played the vampire Lestat in the movie Interview with a Vampire. I'm giving you Tom Cruise because today someone I know was watching a Tom Cruise movie. So Tom Cruise comes up, and the character is Lestat because he is an Anne Rice character, and Lestat did hang out in New Orleans. We think that the movie that was being watched today, the Tom Cruise movie, could have been one of the Mission Impossible movies. Can't say for sure because I haven't seen them all, and I only walked by. The television was on, and I saw it was Tom Cruise. It was an older Tom Cruise, so more present day rather than when he was early in his career. And so we think it could have been Mission Impossible. Now, the Mission Impossible that everyone is working on now is to get all humans out of fear. Can you imagine what planet Earth would be like if there was 0 humans with a vibration of fear? That seems to be Mission Impossible. However, it's the mission that we all have. Why? Because it is simply what I'm telling you, and whether you believe it or not, there are plenty of people who do. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and share.